Good morning. Today is Monday, Rosh Chodesh Shevat, first day of Shevat. On the Rosh Chodesh, a very special day. And we should all have a good gebenchte Chodesh and everything in every way. And today we're giving the shir from the oil. So Bezrat Hashem, after the shir, we're going to go into the Rebbe. Anyone who wants to ask a bracha, you can send in your name. Good morning, Shimshon. Good morning, Shlomo.
Good morning.
So today we continue the chapter 15 that we started yesterday in the Tanya. The Alter Rebbe goes on to explain that there is the different levels of a Beinoni. Until now, we knew what is a Beinoni, what is the intermediate person. This is this person that it seems like everything is perfect with him. He's doing well in his action, in his speech, and his thinking, everything is perfect. He does exactly and only what Hashem wants. He would do nothing but against Hashem. And this is what Alter Rebbe says is a level that each and every one of us needs to strive to achieve, because we can achieve that level. Not easy, but it's achievable, at least parts of it. So we knew about the tzaddik, and we knew about the rasha, the different levels of a tzaddik, the different levels of a rasha. But the Beinoni, we didn't learn about different levels of Beinoni. And in today's chapter, the Alter Rebbe introduces that the Beinoni is also the two levels of a Beinoni. There is the intermediate person, a Beinoni, who is serving Hashem, and there is a Beinoni that serves him not. Oved Elokim and Lo Avado. One who serves Hashem and one who doesn't serve Hashem. What does it mean doesn't serve Hashem? If he's doing everything right, what does it mean he doesn't serve? And the Alter Rebbe explains that the Oved means working, avodah, laboring. When you labor, when you work hard, when you work to change yourself, it doesn't come automatically. And here, by Beinoni, the Alter Rebbe is going to say that there are some people who by nature, the Yetzer Hara doesn't work very hard for them. It doesn't have the type of Yetzer Hara, doesn't have this desire, this inclination to do bad. And we're not talking about a tzaddik, not to confuse with a tzaddik. A tzaddik is one who transformed his evil inclination. And his work is in a whole different level. Tzaddikim en le menucha, tzaddikim have no rest. They constantly go up higher and higher. They don't fight the Yetzer Hara, but they go up higher and higher in their levels. We are talking about a Beinoni who does have a Yetzer Hara. He doesn't have the natural love to Hashem, the revealed love to Hashem, or fear, and his emotions was not changed. But he doesn't have such a passionate Yetzer Hara. And therefore, he's a kind of like a bookworm person who is an introverted, who doesn't get excited about the material things. And so he's going to study Torah, he's going to do mitzvahs, but he's not fighting. And that's what the Alter Rebbe says, that this is the difference between one who fights his Yetzer Hara. He has a Yetzer Hara that is active, and he constantly has to fight it. That's called Oved Elokim. He's one who serves Hashem. And the other Beinoni, who doesn't fight his Yetzer Hara because he doesn't bother him very much, that is called Lo Avado. He's just doing things because it's easy for him to do. He still does the right thing, but it's Lo Avado. It's not serving Hashem. So let's see inside the way the Alter Rebbe explains this. אז the Alter Rebbe, ובבינני יש גם כן שתי מדרגות. In the category of the Beinani, there are also two levels. Oived Elokim, v'asher lo avado. He who serves God and he who serves him not. V'af al pikein, einay rasha, we're not talking about the rasha. Yet he who serves him not is not wicked. Although he doesn't wage a war against the evil nature, he's not considered wicked. Why? We're talking about this person who never in his life has committed even a minor transgression. He also fulfilled all the positive commandments which he is able to fulfill, including the precept of Torah study, which is equal to all other commandments combined. To the extent that his mouth never ceased from studying, he's constantly studying. This is one thing we said in the previous chapters. This is one of the most difficult things, is not to violate the mitzvah of Bittul Torah, to spend time other than studying Torah. In other words, any available moment that a person has, we must use it for study Torah. Yes, of course, if we have to work, we go to work, we have to eat and drink and speak with your spouse and do everything what you need. But if you have available time, do it, study Torah. And this, the Gemara says, this is one of the things that every single day it's almost impossible not to violate because it's hard. But here we're talking about a Beinani who studies Torah, and every single moment, he doesn't have a free moment. Every single moment he studies Torah. Yet he's considered not serving God. Why? Hello, she'einai oiseh shum milchama im hayetzer. He does not wage any battle. Yet he's not considered. He's considered that it does not serve God because he does not wage any battle against his evil inclination. Lenatzchoi al yedei oir Hashem hameir al nefesh alekis shebamoyach hashalit al alev kanis kaleil. He doesn't fight the Yetzer Hara to vanquish it through the aid of the divine light that illuminates the godly soul, abiding in the brain, which rules over the heart, as explained above. So why doesn't he fight the Yetzer Hara? Because the Yetzer Hara doesn't bother him. This is mipnei she'ein yitzroi oimed lenekdoi klal levatlei miterosav ha'avadosei. For his evil inclination does not oppose him at all in an attempt to deter him from his Torah studies and from divine service. He doesn't need to wage any war against it. And Alter Rebbe brings examples. He's going to bring two examples of this case, a Beinani that doesn't fight, that doesn't serve Hashem because he doesn't have a fight with the Yetzer Hara. So the first example is one who by nature he's that way. Some people are by nature, they're not passionate, they have a frigid, cold nature, they don't get excited about material things. They like to sit with themselves, to read books and to do whatever they need to do. The other example is one who changed his nature, which means in the beginning he did have a fight, but once he changed, he got used to this routine, he's already doing it out of routine. Continues the Alter Rebbe, Kegoin, for example, Shumasmit belimudoi betivoi miteladetoi alidei tigbayes amer shcher. For example, with one who by nature is a serious student, constantly studying due to his stolid temperament. has a temperament that is, doesn't get excited, is not extroverted, doesn't get excited from the other things. Very cold nature. And who is also free of conflict with sexual desires due to his frigid nature. And some people who are not, it doesn't excite them. And similarly, with other mundane pleasures, he who needs not exert himself to master a desire for them, for he naturally lacks any feelings for enjoyment. Some people don't enjoy those things. Therefore, ein tzorich lizboinen kol kach begdulas Hashem, le'oilid mibinosoi ruach das be'iras Hashem b'meichai. For this reason, he doesn't need to contemplate so much on the greatness of Hashem to consciously create a spirit of knowledge and fear of God in his mind. In order to guard himself from transgressing any prohibitive commandments, as we learned earlier in the Tanya, that what is the way of getting yourself not to violate the mitzvahs lo yisaseh, the negative commandments, is when you have the yiras Hashem, the fear of God. When you meditate about the fear of God, and that you don't want to be separated from Hashem and so on, so that helps you to protect yourself, to guard yourself, not to violate the mitzvahs. But this guy doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to have so much great contemplation and meditation in the greatness of Hashem in order to avoid this. And the same thing is also true with the other way around. Also, when we're talking about the avas Hashem, fear of Hashem, this guy also doesn't need the avas Hashem beliboy, ledovka boy, bekiyum hamitzvahs v'samator kineged kulam. He also doesn't need to create love of God in his heart, which would motivate him to bind himself to him through fulfilling the positive commandments and through the Torah, the Torah study, which equals all. So this is what we learned earlier. Again, the fear of Hashem helps a person to avoid doing the negative mitzvahs, the prohibitions, because he fears Hashem. He doesn't want to be separated from God. The love of Hashem, when you think about the love of Hashem, how Hashem is close to us, and how Hashem elevates us from the bottom, and how Hashem gives us the life every single day, and so on and so forth. That creates a love to Hashem, and that motivates you to do the positive mitzvahs. But this guy, this Beinoni, doesn't need to meditate so much, because he has by nature, he doesn't have such a passion to go to do bad things. And again, we're not talking about a tzaddik. He has a yetzer hara, but the yetzer hara is not so active by him. He's more of a melancholy. He's more of a frigid nature, doesn't get excited. And he's like a bookworm. In Lahavdil, this you have also by people who are not Jewish. People who don't have a neshama at all, a godly neshama. So they also can be reading books and I'm not excited about other things. They also can have that. But there's a difference. The Beinoni, as the Alter Rebbe is going to say now, he has the hidden love. The hidden love is there by every single Jew. Ahava mesoteres. So yes, he has this nature, this particular Beinoni has a nature, frigid nature. He's cold. He's not excited about material things, about sexual things, about eating, about this. He just doesn't care about those things. He just by nature wants to be with himself, to do the right thing. But what motivates him to do it? The hidden love to Hashem, the Ava Mesuteres. However, he doesn't have to fight it. He doesn't have to fight to change because he has it by nature. Whereas the difference between the other Beinoni, that the Alter Rebbe is going to say, the one who fights is Yetzer Hara. To change, that's called Oved Elokim. You have to introduce the love to Hashem in a way of fighting the Yetzer Hara. So this continues the Alter Rebbe, and he says as follows. The hidden love of God found in the heart of all Jews who are called Oyav Shmoy, the lovers of his name, that is sufficient for him to motivate his fulfilling the commandments, since he is naturally so inclined. He says, therefore, for this reason, he's not considered one who is serving God at all. Why? Because he's not working on this love. For this latent love is not of his making or achievement by any means. It is our inheritance bequeathed by our patriarchs. Is like the inheritance of our patriarchs, it's in our DNA, to the entire Jewish nation, as we'll explain further. Later on in the chapters in the Tanya, the Alter Rebbe will explain. So this is one type of Beinoni that doesn't need to fight, because by nature it doesn't have. It doesn't have the inclinations to and the temptations to the material world. And then the Alter Rebbe says there's another type of Beinoni that does not serve God, is the one who did have initial fight, but now he is already used to what he's doing. Says the Alter Rebbe, "V'chein af mi she'eino masmid b'limudei b'tivoi." So too, he who is not inherently studious, rak she'irgil atzmoi lilmoid b'asmada g'doilo v'naseh ha'ergel loitev hasheni, but he accustomed himself to study diligently, so that this habit has become his second nature. Thus, diligent is now natural for him. So therefore, for him too, the hidden love of God is now sufficient. Unless he wishes to study more than he usually does, then for that he needs to fight. So if he goes more, if he does the extra mile, then it's called Oved Elokim. So to do so, he must arouse a conscious love of God in his heart. Only such a love can supply the strength necessary to free himself from the restraint of his acquired nature. So the acquired nature is restraining him. Whatever you do, when you get to a certain point, you have to keep growing. If you don't keep growing, if you continue to do what you got used to, then you're already doing it out of routine, not out of really serving Hashem and fighting in the way. So this is the end of today's shir. And what we take from this lesson is, of course, that it's not the mark that you get in the end by the test. It's how much effort you put in. In a school, some kids do great. They get 100 on the test, but they didn't work hard. Some kids will get an 80 and will be worth much, much more. So perhaps that should be changed, the way you mark in schools, to mark the effort that you put in. And this is the same thing every day. When we put in effort in serving Hashem, this is called the Oved Elokim. Thank you all for joining. Any questions? We can take now the questions.